My name is Dom Douglas, and I am back-to-back XWW Commentator of the Year. With that comes some responsibilities, but also a lot of fun and excitement, and I'm never ashamed to look like a complete fool. Speaking of that, I love playing Magic the Gathering, so much so that I kind of think I play it a little bit too much, and I have some opinions. So now, ExtremeTVOnline.com and XWW Wrestling on YouTube presents my podcast where I talk about Magic the Gathering. It's the Goblin Grenade Podcast.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Goblin Grenade Podcast. My name is Dom Douglas, and for Max Heroes and Villains YouTube channel, we have episode 37, and already a little bit of a weird announcement. I'm taking a little bit of a break. If you didn't know, this was on the Extreme World Wrestling YouTube channel, this podcast, and to be honest, it always didn't jive. This is the only podcast where we're not talking about wrestling on there. So we moved it over to here, hence why there's already been 37 episodes, but also why it's going to be a little bit awkward because I will be taking a little bit of a break. And by a little bit of a break, I mean in the middle of November to the middle of January, I will not be home. I am going to visit friends and family in New Jersey and just taking an extended break, an extended vacation, recharge my batteries, so in 2025, I can come back stronger than ever and maybe retool a few things on this show. That being said, the thing is, I will still be putting content out. We will still be putting the older some content on from the Extreme World Wrestling YouTube page over to here. So, who knows? I know my 4 video series of all the commander decks that I owned, and some of them I don't even have anymore, will be on there as well, along with a couple of new ones. I mean, this week is Foundation's pre-release for Magic the Gathering, and I'm definitely going to be doing that and making a video on that as well. The store I'll be going to that I normally go to is always more than kind and gracious to give me a chance to basically just have fun and record some things and do a vlog style of episode. Hopefully I'm in frame. I don't know. Let's see if I'm even recording. We're doing new things here. I'm using my phone. Normally I would use the webcam, but that's one of the things I want to upgrade before I start the podcast up anew. It's still going to be Goblin Grenade, but I want to get a different webcam. This one's very, very old, barely does 1080p, and the image looks clean and good if it's shrunk down, but if it's the whole screen, not so good. So we have probably a shorter podcast because I'll be honest with you as well. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, I've been playing for about, 80 hours since it dropped. I've been playing since it dropped 3 minutes after the game released. And in that time, I have played for over 80 hours. If you don't know, I'm disabled. I don't do a lot of things. So I have plenty of free time, especially towards the end of the year when the wrestling shows slow down for the holiday seasons. That's another reason why I'm taking 2 months off to go visit friends and family. And the girlfriend. That's the biggest reason, the girlfriend. Be good to get to have some quality time with her. That being said, let's get into it because at first, we're going to talk about the first Marvel-related project on Magic the Gathering, and that was the Secret Lair Commanders and how bad it was. Basically, what had happened is the old way of Secret Lairs, that's how these 5 cards were presented in the Secret Lair. The way it used to work on Secret Lairs is they would take all the orders that they could get, shut it down after a week, then print to demand. So sometimes it would take a little bit. It would take a couple months for you to get your cards. But what happened was it was the first commander or second commander that they had printed. It was the Heads I Lose, Tails You Win. No, Heads I Win, Tails You Lose, or whatever it was called. That commander deck based off of Gavin Verhey's commander deck. It took a whole year for the people who ordered it to get the product, to the point that the running joke, and it was true, some people forgot they ordered it and then they received it. And it was a surprise. You remember that Secret Lair you ordered over a year ago? Yeah, it's finally here. And after that, they went to, from a print on demand to basically pre-print it, get X amount of product out, and then take orders on it until that product is sold out. It was an absolute horror show for this Secret Lair. First off, it's your first joint effort with Marvel, so you would think that Wizards would be on the point and actually print a ton of this, because it is the first Marvel print product that they've put out for Magic the Gathering. And you would think that they would have a little bit better website back end, if you will, of not having a complete shutdown, meltdown less than a minute into the ability to buy it. It dropped at 9 o'clock in the morning a few days ago, and by 9:01, the wait time was already 3 hours. On a limited edition item, yes, that's what let's be fair here, they are a limited edition item, and you had to wait 3 hours just to be told that, no, this product is no longer available, or when you went to check out, your cart had no items in it. And we're just going to go over a couple of columns here that talked about it on this one. Mainly a video, Pleasant Kenobi, he said it better than I can ever. There was apparently a link was passed around, which this is from Wargamer 40K, 1000% unvetted site from me. I just saw that they were one of the few articles that when I Googled it, a link was passed around which those waiting in line to skip the queue entirely and go straight to checkout. These aren't just unsubstantiated rumors either. Major community creators like Amazonian have said they use this exploit. What is also souring fans, so basically there was a way to just immediately skip the wait period and go into checkout, and people who are prominent Twitch streamers or Magic the Gathering figures I've already gotten it in. But the problem is there's supposed to be like a program for them to be able to get that stuff. So why don't you just print the stuff for them as well and just give it to them? That's part of their like weird, whatever they're calling the ambassador program now, I felt. I really think your content creators should be able to get this product free of charge because they're giving you the exposure and making a video on it and all this other things. It's a whole kind of like odd stance that I have on it. One, I know for a fact I'll never be sponsored. If that sponsorship ever came, cool. But three, I'm not going to compromise. So some of these people have had to compromise what they have to say and their opinions about the game and cards in particular. So if you're going to compromise your integrity, at least have to be able to get access to the new stuff. So you can also promote it as well and be like, hey, this is some amazing things. But instead they get a secret queue around that lets them skip the line. The usual pain points were present and then some, according to this article from Warhammer 40K, Wargamer. The card sold out immediately. Wait times were horrendous. Sales website handled the traffic badly. Scalpers were immediately offering the cards on eBay for hundreds of dollars, which they were. There's no way to stop that, but this is what happens when you have a limited edition item. It's becoming clear that the intended experience as far as Wizards of the Coast is concerned, that the experience is not what it's supposed to be. It's been almost a year since the company switched the current model to its more consumer-friendly print-to-demand policy, yet the process hasn't gotten any better. Even more telling is, in the recent investor call, Hasbro CEO Chris Cox boasted that each Marvel Secret Lair mini set was expected to sell out immediately. So it sounds like they planned to produce way less stock than there were interested buyers, which I don't know if you're a Marvel in this end. I'd be pretty mad that the first out the gate product for your major collaboration for the next couple of years with this big company in Wizards has already been set up to fail, and you've already been burning a lot of your fans that were excited for these cards. Poor handled sales of the Secret Lair is upsetting because the cards on offer are particularly desirable. Not only is this popular crossover, it's exclusive card with well-loved heroes. It's also possible a later Marvel product may reprint them. But right now, the Secret Lair cards aren't available anywhere else. It immediately sold out, and the wait traffic was terrible. It was horrendous. The fact that so much was your first impression of your Marvel collaboration has already upset so many people is kind of indicative of the future, I feel, of the Marvel sets. And that Wizards just, there's no smart balance between print on demand and the limited edition that they do. But the problem is you should have been able to print on demand or print way more than you should have. And even if you didn't sell out in that golden week or that golden month that you have available to it, you kind of keep it until the stock runs out, even if you print an excessive amount, because people will still buy it. Yeah, the cards won't be as much as the perceived collector value would be, but they'd still be available, and you wouldn't have this backlash, as opposed to the other side of the backlash is they made the cards worthless, which is way easier to kind of ignore at this point. So the first set of Marvel Wizards Magic the Gathering collab did not go as well intended. And on top of that, getting into the hours-long wait just to have your cart be empty when you went to check out because of a glitch in the system. Once again, Wizards' website back end is garbage. And I said it in the last podcast, you're talking about a company that was maybe 25 miles, 20 minutes something away from Microsoft. And it's in Microsoft's big heyday too. And it's still there, but the technology giant that is Microsoft, probably the smartest human beings, especially at the time when Magic the Gathering came out and when the internet started becoming a thing, they were too bold and they were too hard-headed to ask for help just right down the road. So once again, ta-da! Our second point of topic on this podcast is 2 days ago, the state of the game, MTG Arena State of the Game was dropped. This was from Magic the Gathering website, magic.wizards.com. I know, weird website name. And it just shows, hey, what we did in 2024 and what they did content. When all said and done, 2024 will go down as a benchmark year for our card set team, as we're on pace to deliver over 3,000 new cards. That number is sickening to me, including the most complicated set we ever worked on, Modern Horizons 3. They had 5 standard sets, Karlov Manor, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, Bloomburrow, Duskmorrow, and Foundations, which is dropping in 2 days. And I'm, as I said, their biggest home runs, Bloomburrow, and then Foundations, I think, is going to be the master class of a home run. This is going to be their best set they've ever done. I really feel Foundations is going to be the set we talk about, not just years later, after the set expires, but well beyond that, 10 years from now, we're going to be talking about how great of a set Foundation was. Kind of like how I talk about how great Khan's Cure Block was. 2 non-rotating sets in Modern Horizons 3, Pioneer Masters coming in Arena in December, a classic set release, Khan's Cure, to coincide with them getting more in line of Pioneer, 4 Alchemy sets, which nobody cares about, which was Manor, Junction, Bloomburrow, Duskmorn, and a Jumpstart release in Foundations, which is also dropping in 2 days. So far, tons of set released on Arena. Pre-constructed deck sales, they launched pre-constructed decks in August to help players discover new decks and to supplement collections. And it started with Brawl decks, I'm pretty sure. The part of the feature is the pricing of the decks is prorated, which I think is smart, meaning if you already have the cards in the deck, they take out an arbitrary number off of the amount of gems that it costs for that deck. I think if I were to buy the Zada deck, it costs me 100 gems, if not less, because I already ran Zada. But, they do cost a fair decent amount of gems for that. Since it's a new feature, we're still in the test and learn phase. They're excited about possibilities. They want to re-release older historic anthology products. Previously, historic anthologies were available at a set price, and players needed to be acutely aware of cards already in their collection. Now, for the cost, the products is prorated, taking into account the player's collection automatically and delivering a much better experience. So if they release another anthology set, and you already have like 8 of those cards in the set, you will get a cheaper rate for it. New ways to earn rewards. Modern Horizons 3, they experimented with the Horizon Hideaway. I didn't like that. It was to explore a new way to opt in the Battle Mastery Pass. I didn't like how they did the Psychic Frogs Hideaway. Horizons Hideaway was our first attempt at limiting standard player disruption while providing a pass-like experience for everyone else. Second purpose was to give players more control over how they earned cosmetic rewards. So they used the lessons that they learned from the Horizon Hideaway and have used it since. I've noticed that as well in the new battle passes. Basically, you don't have the arbitrary tree to unlock items anymore when you earn mastery orbs of whatever they're calling them for that. Now you just have every single unlock on that pass available to you, and it tells you how many gems orbs it's going to cost to unlock that. I liked that so much better because I'm not really a cosmetics guy on Arena when it comes to the cards, but I do like me some sleeves. And so definitely that helped me get the sleeves that I wanted to get. You get what you want to get now instead of having to be forced to get 4 commons and uncommon alternate artworks that you're never going to use just to get the rare and then the sleeve. Arena Direct events, which is where you get the Festival in a Box series, where if you go undefeated or go like 5-1 or something like that, or 6-1 or 7-1, or, within that number of 7-0 in a Festival in a Box, you get like the mystery boosters too, and a couple other things. Basically the Festival in a Box set that you can pre-order from MagicCons if you're not going to be able to attend, and you still want some of the cool experiences. Wizards Play networking programs, which is now that thing where you can go into a store, log into like Casual Commander event at the store, and you will get rewards in Arena for doing so. And, it's drafts and whatnot. I appreciate that. They go into what they learned. With the pre-constructed deck sales, they could have been clearer on how pricing works. For deck sales, we chose the latter path, since experience of the desired outcome of getting decks at full price is reduced. They saw confusion on how pricing worked. The base cost of all the cards in the deck, which is a simple calculation based on the number of each card of rarity. The deck cost, which is a discount each deck gets based on what type of deck it is, and the final player cost. So they're working on that a little better, and they figured out a better way of going around that. And now what's next from here for Arena? Well, Pioneer Masters is dropping, which is going to be as close to parity in Pioneer as we will get to Arena. Not every card is going to be in Pioneer on Arena, but it's going to be 99.1% close of cards that see play. Card sets, even though they worked with Create a Tool to allow managed sets that are targeted at specific formats. Core achievement system. This is something I am digging. Basically, kind of like Xbox achievements and PlayStation Platinum trophies and whatnot. They're going to want to implement that. We'll walk everything through you and expect soon, but in short, we want to further expand ways to reward play that isn't solely based on just winning matches of Magic the Gathering. Because right now, you get the 3 dailies, which do X to get Y, and then your 15 wins a week. They want to do something different along those lines on top of that. And as players earn achievements to unlock new cosmetics, phrases, and a new way to celebrate accomplishes with something they haven't said yet. It says redacted. Expanded social features. They've been slacking and lacking on social features for Arena. While we're still in the exploration phase, our vision continues to include providing tools for friend groups to socialize and play, improving connections between players, digital and tabletop play, providing a system for leaderboards and trophies, and more. We expect the first iterations of this to reach players near the end of next year. Social is a critical prerequisite for Arena future that supports digital Magic with 3 or more players. We will get into that in a little bit. Problem with that, they've Arena has promised a lot since 2018 and 2019 and even 2020 when it came out. At this moment in time, they should have had it out on consoles already. They haven't. I don't even think they're working on an Xbox version and a PlayStation version of this game anymore. They were supposed to have 4-player Commander already, and that got delayed, and then now kind of delayed again. They were supposed to have more social features, friends requests, groups, plays. They barely have that. They have the bare minimum of a friends group type of thing that you can do. So they want to expand on that, but it's going to take them until the end of next year to get that situated. I will definitely tell you right now, that's not happening. They'll release one feature for social by the end of next year and say, oh, we had unforeseen problems experienced that many other people have figured out already. Beyond the major initiatives on the quality of life improvements, launch dates are still being finalized, but here are some changes that we can look forward to soon. Updating the Golden Pack meter to progress with all standard legal pack purchases, which means every set released in 2025 will contribute. When you buy 10 packs, you get a Golden Pack, which gives you rares. Nothing but rares in that Golden Pack. Updating special guest cards in packs to match their intended gameplay rarity, and eliminating the need to spend rare or mythic rare wildcards on certain reprints. Please note that this doesn't mean all reprints will match their original rarity, but will reflect current rarity standards. Basically, when Strixhaven came out and they had the additional sheet of reprinted cards, Lightning Bolt was printed at rare. Lightning Bolt has been a common through and through. And to get that, you had to spend a rare on it, like I did. To continue to iterate on deck sales and get into ways into getting games faster, improving connections between in-store and digital play, which I think is a focus that they really will make sure to nail down, including changing some of our rewards to be automatic. For instance, pre-release codes will be discontinued and instead will be automatically granted to players who play at their local store and then log into Arena. Here's what I want for that. And they did it one time, and I wish they would do it again. One beautiful set, and I think it was Markov Manor. There was no one per customer on the codes. I always felt, say, like for Horizons, I intend on doing 2, maybe 3 pre-releases. I bought the product. Why am I not allowed to use that code, use the 3 codes I get on my same Arena account? I paid the money for your pre-release. And here's the other thing. You used to own Pokemon. Okay, Wizards of the Coast. Pokemon has the best 1-to-1 card to digital ever because you buy a pack and they come with codes that you can input into the client for Pokemon and you get those cards to play. I don't see why you're being very greedy with this one. This is one of those arguments where greed, definitely, I will say, they do it for the money because they want you to buy the packs and not get them for free. If I buy 4 pre-releases, or sometimes people buy 6 pre-release and do 6 pre-release events this weekend, I should be able to cash all 6 of those codes in. And I hope they continue to do that. Continuing collaboration with the play and product teams to support foundations and programs like Magic Academy, which I think is great. Implementing behind-the-scenes improvements to the client and back-end services to support team and future features, including improving stability and performance. I'll believe that when I see it. Decreasing the timeline needed to deliver bug fixes, and I'll believe that when I see it as well. Every new set is guaranteed to break Arena. Guaranteed. You can say that's typical with most games that come out or games that get regularly updated. This is bad. Sometimes they are game crashing bugs that take hours, if not days, to fix. This happens every 2 months on average, and it's only going to get worse next year when there's 6 standard sets. So every month and a half, they'll release the new set. They'll release the update for it. It will break the game. Always happens. state of the arena of the formats. This was interesting. Majority of MTG arena formats. Standard is played around 50% of the time. Historic, 20% of the time. Brawl, about 18% of the time. Alchemy, a format they've been pushing for years, 8% of the time. Explorer, which is their dipping the toes into the water of Pioneer until they get parity, is played about 5% of the time. Timeless is played about 4% of the time. That's just from the weird graph they released, and I'm guesstimating it here. And it makes sense. The Arena is a standard program for the newest cards. Historic and Historic Brawl, you might as well combine them. Not many people play Historic as much as they used to because Alchemy infected it. I hate Alchemy if you haven't realized that. I think Alchemy is the single-handedly worst thing Arena has ever done to Arena, and I think they should stop pushing it because apparently they have the data saying 8% of the players, 8% of all games played in Arena are Alchemy. And yet you're tailoring and focusing product and pushing new cards into the Alchemy format and rebalanced cards into Alchemy format, wasting precious hours of power and time spent and equity just to make these cards for a format that less than 10% of your install base plays. So the thing about that is everybody has been wanting Commander of some form in Arena. This is from MTGRocks.com, yet again another non-vetted site, but they had an interesting article up about it. In the latest State of the Game video, Ian Adams and Chris Kurritz spoke specifically about multiplayer plans on Arena. Sadly, they don't have good news for anybody hoping for a quick release. For starters, it was explicitly stated that it will not launch next year. It's a guarantee. This game has been out for 6 years, and they've yet to figure out. And in that 6-year time, it's not like Commander became the biggest format in that 6 years. Commander was already starting to become the biggest format in Magic the Gathering. They still can't figure out, meaning they created a program that was unable to do 4-player Magic. Think about that. Multi-billion-dollar company in the world, biggest format they have is Commander. They can't figure it out. Are you kidding me? They really cannot figure out. Maybe we should have a back end, or maybe we should put in the program before we release it to have the ability to do 4 players. And now, 7 years after the game came out, in 2018, that's when closed beta happened, that they've had plenty of time, you still don't have that function. Console players are also waiting patiently, or they may have forgotten that this game exists. Either way, 4-player Brawl or Commander, not coming out next year. They hope to have hired the people to do it next year and then start working on it. So it's not coming out in 2026 either. It seems a multiplayer is a long away from release. Talking about Arena's next big thing, the sentiment was repeated a lot. They both repeated multiple times. Adams and Kurtz repeated multiple times that it'll take a while, so we shouldn't get our hopes up. Even be somewhat realistic and saying another long wait until 2027 might be too soon. Despite the knowledge it'll take a while and the lack of real release date, this information is nonetheless comforting. Okay, I disagree with that article. That is not comforting. That is very disheartening. I don't care if it's being worked on now. From what they said, they haven't started working on it at all in the 6 years that Arena has been out. 6 years that Arena has been out, the most popular format, one of the only reasons to play the original Magic the Gathering Online is Commander. And you mean to tell me you haven't even taken step one, wrote one line of code, even looked at the existing code to see how they can do it? I get shades of Bethesda when it comes to Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6 on this one. I really do. Because those games will come out eventually. I'll probably be a senior citizen by the time Fallout 5 comes out. And that's not from me. That's from Todd Howard himself. In the State of the Game post, Wizards reveal an achievement system is in the works. Yeah, who cares? I already discussed that. Yeah, so basically, when it comes to Commander on Arena, don't get your hopes up. Seriously, don't. Basically said, yeah, we're going to work on it next year. We're going to start working on it next year. It'll come out at some point. And that some point might be 2028. We may be 3.5 years away from getting the most popular format in all of Magic's history on Arena, the most popular program being played right now. Even if it's 4-player brawl, four-player historic brawl. I don't know how. I know how, but I don't know how Wizards of the Coast fumbles the bag so many times when it comes to Arena, when it comes to Brawl, and more specifically, when it comes to getting the most popular format on their biggest program. I mean, you're talking about a company that when they release a new set and an update for their program, it basically breaks the game and they have to spend more time fixing it. So it doesn't surprise me. But if you're looking forward to Brawl, 4-player Brawl in Arena, probably not going to happen. Not for 3 years. And that's sad, because I love Commander, obviously. I have almost 30 Commander decks again. And I'm about to pare some more down, because I know I'm going to make some more when I'm in Jersey and get some for Christmas. I know that for a fact. My family will definitely probably get me one. But that being said, when it comes to next year, Foundations is the key. I think Foundations is going to carry Magic the Gathering more than we are anticipating right now because of what I've said previously about Foundations, where I feel the next couple sets coming out are going to have lower individual cards, unique cards, like there'll be like 1,000 cards in the set, but like each card's going to get like 5 different printings. But the base number of sets of unique cards in that set, I think are going to be around 200 because Foundations is covering the bases so that they can work, so R&D can work on making new cards, and instead of focusing on, okay, what reprint of Llanowar Elves do we use, or how do we print a new version of it? So I think if that's the case, moving forward, Foundations is going to be a home run, and I think it is. I think that's the direction they're going to go, especially releasing 6 individual sets next year, even if you think about it, with just those 6 sets, and if they're 200 something cards, that's 1,200 new cards, not 3,000, but if we count Foundations, you'll get around 1,500. That'll help collectors. Now, I think it's going to be around 250 cards, but still, 200 cards, a person can dream now, can't they? But I think Foundations, as I said, is going to be more important in Magic the Gathering's history moving forward than we all anticipate right now. My name is Dom Douglas, the back-to-back commentator of the year as of this moment for Extreme World Wrestling, and may your top deck always be mythic.